letter early, but we didn't see any progress.
Okay. Yeah.
Morning. Morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
That is a gorgeous color.
Oh, thank you.
It's like a pumpkin latte.
Yeah. Fall.
Yes.
Yeah, we got our sweaters out after
Yeah,
that.
that's why I'm cold, is I didn't put a crop sweater on. The chamber is like heat blocker, but we came out of store and we're like, oh, this is
It's nice. It's cold for my house and it is.
probably double check to see if somebody else in the room.
It'll be really nice again this afternoon.
Yeah, it's a little cool.
So, John, I like the incognito look there.
Yeah.
It's the backlit,
Oh, yeah.
Are you really John?
Yeah.
Well, I was concerned about him, and the only news we've gotten out of Paris is bed bugs.
Oh, during fashion week of all times.
Yeah, so he
Oh.
said he had been, because even they've been on the train and gotten in people's luggage.
Oh,
Maybe that was it. Thanks, sorry.
Usually you need an IT person. Yeah. Person last name, Marty, person 20.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
active.
It's the mechanic. It didn't make that sound. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Just needed to come up here.
Yeah, and I remember turning back the bed to be sure there were no little things that looked like apple seeds. You got your bed bugs.
Yeah.
So they're visible.
It's got hollow
Well,
and
you can see that internet side.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Husks.
We just kind of keep luggage up off the floor and there are things you can do.
Love Carmel. Just like, we're gonna get a bug bite.
Yeah, they're just uncomfortable, you know, they don't transmit disease or anything. It's just uncomfortable.
I guess it's 9 o'clock, right?
Yeah, hold on a second. We had some computer issues.
Ready to get started here? Have a roll call?
One more minute, John. Leslie's
Oh,
getting
one
herself
minute, okay.
situated. We had a computer issue, so
Okay.
she'll give you the high sign.
No, she should be here, but, my husband's headed to Amsterdam tomorrow, not Friday, tomorrow, just for work, but I think that'll be worthy of some jealousy. Great, have fun. That's great. He's there through Tuesday afternoon, so I think that'll be, yeah, plus, you know, 5 days, something like that.
So 3 days to adjust.
Yeah.
He's doing stuff and then just jet lag.
Right, yeah, exactly. It'll be messed up either way, so. But,
We got stuck in Amsterdam for 3 days. We flew space available. And we had 2 kids with us.
Yeah,
One,
right.
9 and 6. And we were stuck in Amsterdam, so we got a place. And our luggage went to Los Angeles. And we each had a backpack with stuff in it. And we said each person could do one thing. So I wanted to go to the Van Gogh Museum. My husband wanted to go to the Sea Museum. There we go.
All right, John, we're ready to go.
All right, let's call the meeting to order and have roll call, please.
Marie Claire Gorham,
Here.
John Krischer,
Here.
Susan Murphy,
Here.
Phil Pardue,
Here.
Mary Jo Williams.
Here.
All present, thank you.
All right. I'll have the pledge of allegiance.
Thank you. Before I trip.
A pledge of allegiance
To the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
stands.
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Johnson. Is there any public appearance online on Zoom or in public?
There's no public here in the chamber, John, and there's nobody on Zoom.
Okay, thank you. How about, we'll have the announcements of the trustees next?
No. We gave 25, Friends of the Library gave, am I on? Okay. 25,000 to, a check for 25,000 to the library last month. And we made $210 at the market, so we're doing well for the library.
Any other trustees have anything to say? All right, we can move on then to the announcements of the library director.
I only have one announcement, and that's that I'm working with the city and our IT on coming up with some better solutions so that we can get quicker help with work on our public computers and public systems, because it's been a little bit slow coming, and so that's a work in progress, and I will be bringing back probably a report out to the board in the coming months on where I am with that, and that may include a request for a budget adjustment. I'm not quite sure yet.
Any comments from the trustees on that? All right, let's move on to the Carmel Foundation, report from the Carmel Foundation. Alex?
So Alex isn't present in the chamber this morning, and I haven't heard from her, so I'm not sure. Something must have come up this morning. But I can tell you they're working hard, and there's all kinds of projects going. We've been working, we're getting close on finishing up our rebranding project. There was a great program last week on knowing your carbon footprint, which was a lot, and lots of good programs in the coming months, so check out their schedule.
All right, so we'll move on to the approval of last month's minutes. Anybody have any changes to them or any issues with them?
Okay.
I move we approve the minutes.
All right. Do I have a second?
I second for the September 27th minutes.
Have a
Marie-Claire Gorham.
Yes.
Susan Murphy.
Yes.
Phil Pardue.
Yes.
Mary Jo Williams.
Yes.
John Krischer.
yes.
Approved. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we received the librarian's report for September, please.
So nothing major of note for September. We did see a dip in circulation for both kids and adult. This is typical in September when school really gets back into swing. Probably the first and second week of September, the kids' library was pretty dead as families kind of reestablished their schedules on when they're coming in the library, and now it's picked quite back. So you'll see the Octobers go right back up again. But because of that, when school starts, we always see a dip after summer reading program. So I expect those numbers to go back up again. And then, of course, we are just as over year to date with our electronic checkouts, but those have kind of leveled off between August and September. So just keeping an eye on those. Everything else looks pretty good and normal for the month of September, as we usually see in years past. And that's it.
Any comments from the trustees? Okay, I guess we'll move on to the treasurer's report and the check register.
Okay, well, thank you. Excuse me, the Treasury report this month looks a little better because we got the first quarter payment from the Carmel Library Foundation, so things are looking very much on track. There's nothing, I think, really noteworthy other than that. Any questions or comments? Or
Just a quick question, just on the some of the elements were over for this month.
Right.
Is that just the normal part of the normal ebb and flow, or are we going to run hot all year? Because sometimes you buy a lot of things in one part of the year and then you don't for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so so there were a couple areas, and Mary Jo and I had discussed this. where, and I'm not sure if it's reflected on here, but there was.
The MOBAC
Yeah,
PLP
so
membership.
Most of our memberships have come in already, with the exception of 3, Ancestry. I can't remember the other 2 that come in the springtime. Oh, Comics Books Plus and one other. Those billings come in the springtime, but otherwise our annual subscriptions are in there. Equipment we're under on, and we're over on some of the kids spending for the quarter, and that was because things had been bundled together and miscoded. So those will be moved over, and then we are overspending in teens at the moment, and that we're not overspending overall in the program budget, but we are overspending in a line item for supplies, and that's because when I did the budget, I structured it very similar to adult programs and children's programs, which is heavier on performers. That's not how the teens roll, and that's not how our librarian's working. So I'm holding back on doing a line item adjustment for that until we do mid-year. So overall budget line for teen programs, we're not overall, but I'll come back and make that adjustment. So that will help me for budgeting for next year.
And for the organizational development, do we need to put more money into that, or is that just?
That's just, it's reflecting that the actual, and then the budget, we're fine there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments from trustees? All right, we can move on to approving the check register. Any questions on any of the items?
No, I move we accept the check register for September.
I second.
Marie Claire Gorham,
Yes.
Susan Murphy,
Yes.
Phil Pardue,
Yes.
Mary Jo Williams,
Yes.
John Krischer.
Yes.
Approved, thank you.
We're going to move on to the consideration of appointment of an ad hoc committee to work with the foundation on the master plan.
Okay, so as you're all aware, twofold, which is one, the Library Board of Trustees has the responsibility and the power to manage, control, and administer any library owned by the City of Carmel-by-the-Sea. And last year, the City of Carmel, as part of their capital plan, approved $50,000 to begin the process of a master plan and a study of both library facilities. We have a report back that gives us some idea of, what our systems look like, what's behind the walls, the wires, and what upcoming will need to be improved upon. The next piece of this is identifying strategies for moving us forward if we're going to be working on different projects with the Carmel Public Library Foundation in terms of funding. At this point, I typically don't recommend ad hoc committees for this board and let you choose, but because President Krischer has already been a part of some of these conversations as the Carmel Public Library Foundation director, their board president, and John and I meet on a regular monthly basis, but also Trustee Pardue, who helped help us work through the Gathering Place project. I recommend that they be appointed to the committee based on their knowledge of those projects and their familiarity with working with the Carmel Public Library Foundation, so that we can work on strategies for moving our library forward into the future. If there's any questions or comments, please let me know. I think we need a motion here
Just I think that the board members would benefit by knowing what's the output of the ad hoc committee at the end of it. I mean, what should they expect? And what should John and I expect to have to produce or brief or something like that? Otherwise, it's just a committee, and we might as well not have it.
Right. No, we definitely need to have it. So what we'll be doing is working with a committee that's been formed of the Carmel Public Library Foundation representatives to work on strategies going forward to get community input on what the community wants to see from any changes we make to the library facilities, just as we did with the Gathering Place. and timing for all of this. That's also going to be very key for when we look at undertaking any projects within any of the facilities, so that we know we're not doing a construction project or a rearrange project right smack in the middle of summer reading. So it's really helping us figure out the path forward. We do, like I said, we completed phase 1. We also have some money in the city's budget, the capital budget, for phase 2, and so figuring out not only how we move those things forward, but when we start phase 2, when are we going to begin those things?
And so the purpose of the ad hoc committee would be to make sure that the Board of Trustees has an opportunity to make the appropriate comment
Absolutely.
in time to influence the plan as it goes forward.
Yes.
As the Library Foundation proceeds.
Yes.
To make our input into for the Board of Trustees writ large.
Right.
To make their unified input into the City Council.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
Just a.
Yes. That's absolutely, yes, that is an accurate representation of what this ad hoc committee will be doing. And it is key because the Board of Trustees, again, does have the responsibility of the oversight of the city's facilities. And the Carmel Public Library Foundation is, our, fundraising arm, and they have, a responsibility to donors. So making sure that we're meeting those needs, meeting those responsibilities, and working together as we've always done, and making sure that this board receives updates on what's happening, where the ad hoc committee is, as well as the Carmel Public Library Foundation Board of Directors and the council when appropriate.
Right. And if we don't have the ad hoc committee, we may lose visibility into the process as it moves forward.
Yes, it's very helpful to have good representation as we, different perspectives are key
Right.
to make this project successful. So what we need now is a nomination or a motion to nominate President Krischer and Trustee Pardue to serve on an ad hoc committee to work with the library director and the Carmel Public Library Foundation on the library buildings master plan, and a motion accepting those nominations.
Are you both willing to do this, first of all?
Yes.
Well, okay.
How about you, John?
I've been working with them already, but I appreciate the help.
So do we need a motion? I move that we appoint Phil and John to the ad hoc committee to manage the control and manage and administer any library facilities. Does that sound about right?
The ad hoc, so it's the appointment to the
Yeah, and that's what didn't I say that? Okay. Appointment to the ad hoc committee.
Got it, Leslie?
Mm-hmm.
I second that.
So, writing my little notes here. Marie-Claire Gorham.
Yes.
Susan Murphy.
Yes.
Phil Pardue.
Yes.
Mary Jo Williams.
Yes.
John Krischer.
Yes.
Approved. Thank you.
Thank you both for working with me on this project. I'm excited, and I think we'll see some good outcomes and have good reports out for the Board of Trustees as a whole.
Yeah. Can we at least, going in the future, at least either bi-monthly or quarterly, put a standing update to the trustees from the ad hoc committee so it's in there in the schedule, and we may have nothing to say, but at least it's in the schedule so that the
Yes, absolutely. We'll add a
Okay.
standing item that's always on here, just like the minutes and the foundation report
Okay.
out, so that it's always there, so we have that opportunity to do it when
Thank you.
appropriate. Thanks, Phil.
Phil, we meet every Thursday, once a month before our board meeting, so we'd be able to get a report to the board at that time after our meeting.
Yeah, and we'll be having additional ad hoc committee meetings in addition to the regular meetings as well. And then we'll have, future agenda items. I have for next month, I have not next month, so November and December, remember everybody, is because our meetings fall the fourth Wednesday of the month. We have a combined meeting for November, December, otherwise we'd be meeting on Thanksgiving, which would be lovely. You all are very nice. Probably want to be with your families, so we'll be meeting in the first week of December, and I can't remember the date, but it should be all on your calendars. And at that point in time, I'll have an update of the gathering place policy. We've taken a tack, we adopted it in February 2020, and then of course we closed. And then we took a look at it right after we reopened, but it really hadn't been put through its paces yet. And so I now have a request from staff to do some minor updates to that. So I'll be bringing that policy back to all of you for review at the combined December meeting.
So December 6th will be the date. Thanks.
Okay, do we
Anything
have
else
any
anybody
future-
wants to hear about, or reports, or anything that, if you think of anything in the interim, please reach out to me and let me know, and I can research, put staff reports together, if there's anything we're missing.
Well, one thing I would like to see, like in January, I'd really like to see a report on what our own, if we had our own computer system, what it would cost and all the benefits and problems that may be with that. That's something I would like to see for a future agenda item.
Thank you, John. I'll add that to my list. Anything else?
Anybody have anything else to add? Then I think we can adjourn the meeting till December.
Great.
All right, quick meeting. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you.
Have fun in Paris, John.
Yeah.
Have a nice glass of wine for all of us.
Yeah.
9 o'clock here, we'll have a coffee, you have the wine.
Avoid the bed bugs.
Just don't sit down in the